Hey everyone, this is Ruben here with Kinderdog PDX and my brother Shane, our assistant head trainer, and this is episode 2 of our Saturday session dog Q&A. This week we have a few questions kind of regarding some biting, some demanding stuff, and just some, I think, overall training progression questions. So let's get started. Shane, read us our first question, please.
First question is from Penny Young. Our 14-and-a-half-year-old Cairn Terrier's internal tummy clock is set at 6 a.m. Was 5 a.m. before the time change. She'll start barking to be fed. Doesn't matter if I feed a snack at night or not. She's mostly deaf, so she can't hear me if I yell quiet. Any ideas besides a correction collar, which we've never used? Frustrating.
Hi Penny, thanks for the question. So there's definitely got to be frustrating getting up 6 a.m. to feed the dog, sometimes 5 a.m. I think overall this leads to thinking about what is our dog doing that is causing this stuff to happen, right? So for one, I think it might go to too much freedom, so for us here, it's always like things are symptoms of underlying issues. If she was able to demand this stuff, we were allowing it. So, we might look at where she's sleeping. Is she sleeping in her crate? What's she like during the day? Is she demanding in other situations? We want to try to get a handle on these things, because to be honest, that's not something that we experience here. Dogs aren't really making those kinds of choices because they're not allowed to make those kinds of choices, right? By putting your dog on place and having them understand what that means, sometimes, it's like if a dog is doing that kind of stuff when you're getting the food bowl ready, by teaching them this thing, that almost just goes away, because they're not allowed to practice running to the food, because that's all just self-rewarding and what they want to do at that time. So definitely go back to looking at what kind of freedom does the dog have, and also, like, does the dog really understand what the word nope really means? I know you say she's mostly deaf, but when she wasn't deaf, did she really know what no meant? You say here, any ideas besides a correction collar? You've never used a correction collar, so I would also ask, like, has this dog ever received a correction? All of these little things really can be building into how the dog sees us, and they might just see you as a person that they can demand this kind of stuff from, right? So we might definitely take a look at how we can limit those choices so those things don't happen, right? We need to definitely teach the dog what to do before not what to do. And obviously she's 14 and a half years old. Like, this might not be a battle that you want to partake in, which is fine. I get it. She's 14 and a half years old. She's definitely going to be stuck in her ways. So if you do take a route of trying to train her, she's definitely going to probably push back. This is like trying to convince your 70-year-old grandfather to change what he's been doing for his entire life. He's probably going to push against it, and resist that, because it's like, hey, he's 70 years old. Why do I need to change what I'm doing now? So those are the things that we would look at, is getting some structure on board. Maybe if she's out, she's on a leash, so you can like direct her and where to go. But there's definitely an element of us limiting her choices, so that we can teach her newer, healthier choices, right? I hope that makes sense. It's kind of a tough one, without seeing the dog and like understanding what the context looks like. I mean, is she jumping on your bed and barking in your face? All right, yeah, let's have her sleep in the kennel. Maybe she stops after she's sleeping in the kennel. You can try a pet convincer, which is a can of compressed air. She might feel it. So if she starts barking, you might say nope and spray the air canister, because it is a pretty fine-tuned audible too that she might pick that up. So that might be something to try as well. Or again, having a collar on her, and when and if you're up and she's starting to bark, you just say nope, and give a light leash correction there. But without a physical touch, she's not going to understand what you mean, that you're disagreeing with that. That's how a dog's going to learn what no means. Okay? I hope this helps, and thanks for the question.
Question number 2. How can I get my dog to like getting pet by strangers instead of cowering and even biting or peeing? She gets so scared.
Hi, Catherine. Thanks for the question. This is a good one. I'm sure lots of people deal with this kind of stuff. So, before we do any interacting with people, we need to teach coexistence. No. Get your dog to see that you're going to advocate for them. That's the biggest one first, okay? This does require us to teach them what we want them to do instead. Over here, we always teach the place command for this. Get them to hang on their bed and show them that no one is going to pressure them by trying to pet them, getting close to their space. As time goes on, she's going to see that she can trust you to keep her safe. And that's the first thing we need to do. We need to build that relationship up, okay? Because what you have here is an unsure dog that is learning that her mouth can get the things that she is unsure of away. I mean, I'm sure if she nips or something like that, we don't continue on, we move away, and that's what she's learning. So the best thing to do, or the best thing is for people to ignore her, but we also have to give her information so she is not just pacing around the house, trying to investigate, getting all close, trying to figure things out. By having her on place, it actually will teach her that we have it figured out for her, right? We let them in the house, they're safe, you don't need to worry about them at all. So, but that also requires us to shift our thinking, and that goes to my next point here, which is like, our dogs don't need to meet everyone who comes over to our house. They don't need to be happy-go-lucky with everyone that they meet. They just don't. A lot of dogs are like your dog, they're just not sure of people. So, and that's okay. They don't need to meet everybody. Your dog sounds a lot like one of our own personal dogs who, she came in biting people, and we did exactly what I'm telling you. We gave her lots of structure, rules, taught her what place was, teaching her that no one's going to mess with you over here. And through that, I mean, she's definitely still not like, oh, I'm a people dog, but her interactions with people have improved. We have a friend who came over and he was able to pet her for the first time, and it was basically just through this attitude of, hey, you know what, my friend can come over, we can hang out, but you don't need to worry about them. I took her to LA, and she made friends with the people there because no one was pressuring her. You know, we could go out, we could do things in the yard, she's helping us with dogs out there. And as time just went on, she actually sought out the affection because no one was just trying to like push it on her, you know. And that time frame has sped up. You know, before it would be a lot longer. I mean, even when Shane first showed up here, he never touched her. He never tried to pet her. He would walk her. He would work her. You know, working her for her food, doing things in a working kind of way, right? And I mean, now they're best friends. He can wrestle with her. He can do whatever he wants with her, and there's no, you know, pushback from her. I mean, like, she would be the type who would, like, you could pet and then she might nip you, you know. So just through that kind of interaction, she was able to, her mindset was able to shift, you know. And I don't know if I mentioned that, but it's like we pick and choose who our dogs are going to hang out with, you know. Someone like Shane, who was moving in here with us, he had to build a relationship with her, you know, because he's around her all the time. Now, my mom, who comes over, you know, I wish I could say more times, but, you know, once a month, once every couple of months, maybe just for a couple of hours here and there, you know, it's a lot to ask to build a relationship with her, you know, because she's just not here enough times, right? And throwing treats at the dog isn't going to help them feel better about the person, you know. It's just going to reassure their unsureness. So get them just to be in the same room with us, being cool, right? On the other hand, too, I mean, you can always just put your dog away. Like, if they go in the kennel, and if they don't, I would definitely teach that. But it's like, if you have guests over, just put her away, you know? Our number one goal is, like, what's the relationship with, like, you and your dog, you know? If that's a little bit toxic, then we need to work on that first before we even think about getting her to be around humans and trusting them, because it's like, if she can't really trust us, she's not going to trust these other people, and we're just going to keep making it worse. So we got to get some foundation going on, teaching the dog what to do first, and you know, definitely think about, like, who does my dog really need to hang out with and meet, and because every dog is going to be different. You know, this dog could be way different than your last dog, and, you know, way different than any other future dogs, you know. But we do have to respect the dog that we have right now, and kind of take it at their pace, you know. Sure, there are ways for counter conditioning stuff, but again, those take willing participants to help you in the training exercise, you know. So you have to ask yourself, at this moment in time, you know, whatever that is, does my friend or, you know, some want to help me doing this? We only have a couple hours to hang out, you know. Maybe it's just best if we just forego that, hang out with our friend and enjoy our time together, you know. Unless your friend starts to move in with you, then we can start to think about building a relationship and working towards that kind of thing. Okay? I hope that helps, you know. But yeah, take it slow. Don't force it on your dog, and get coexistence first. Okay? You have anything to add for that?
That was pretty good.
Okay.
All right. Let's go ahead to question number 3. The last one here is from Carrie Erickson. Question: what level of perfection is required for one step before you move on to the next step? For example, if the dog is performing at 80%, awesome. Is that good enough to move on while continuing to reinforce, or do you wait until they're at 90%?
Great question, Carrie. So Carrie is one of our private lesson clients, And so I think this question may be referring to our first lesson, which is the leash pressure exercises. And maybe you want to know when to move into a higher distraction environment. So what I would first ask is, why not shoot for 100%, right? I wouldn't settle for just good enough. Could it be better in some ways? So what I would say, just looking at what our leash pressure exercises would kind of entail is look at, and critically evaluate yourself on what could be a little bit better, right? What could be improved on? So in the area that you're working on, could you get better turns? Could the dog respond even better to the leash pressure? Could your timing be better? You really want to hone in and feel the leash, right? Do I feel like I could get it just to be a little bit sharper in this area? If you feel like, no, I think it's all feeling pretty good, move on to the next spot. It does. It really goes to feel, this is stuff that's gonna come up through time, but if you feel like, because for example, we're starting in the house and we just want the dog to follow us around in the house. So if that's feeling really good, all right, just take it out back and see what you get. You can always go back to the inside again. You can always go back. So if you feel like you're struggling a lot more outside, and you're like, maybe I could clean up a few things in here, let's do that first, because then you're just gonna have a much easier time outside when there's more distractions going on. Your timing can be sharper when you're outside after practicing it for so long in here. Okay, so that would just be the thing I would look at, is just really take an evaluation and see if there's any areas that you can improve upon. If there isn't and you think everything's cool, then move to the next spot. And then the same thing. Can I get it to be, can I get the dog to turn a little bit better with this? Can I get better leash pressure? Can I just get better responses in general in this area? And if you can, keep working on it, because again, the better you get it in those areas, the easier time you're going to have when you get out into another distraction environment, because this is all just foundation stuff, right? It's really low key here, set it up, get the foundations, get your timing right, get the mechanics going on, and then you move it outside, and then you're like, okay, I'm a bit more prepared now for when I'm faced with another distraction, right? Further, I would also say, if you're feeling it at all, is to take the pressure off of yourself of maybe thinking that you should be at a certain point at a certain time, right? Understand that dog training is a process and it definitely shouldn't be rushed. We don't want to be trying to cut corners just so we can move to the baseball field and start practicing there or something like that, right? I'm sure we've all heard the saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. The same concept goes with our dogs. Just get out there, practice what you're going to practice, and just see how good you can get it. You're going to see how good it is when you move to the distractions, because the dog's going to either recover really quickly or you're going to struggle a lot. And if you're struggling a lot, maybe it's, okay, we're going to step back. Maybe I'm going to work on these areas again, just to really make sure I've got it. I feel really good about it before I move back, and it could just be another patience game when you get into those higher distraction areas, but again, it always goes back to the more work you put in on these foundational areas, these easy areas, the better the dog is going to do out there, because they've just got this better understanding of what is expected of them. Okay, so Yeah, don't try to rush it. Just have some fun out there, getting to be out with your dog and doing these exercises. He's enjoying it. You're spending time together. You're building relationship. It doesn't matter if it takes you a long time to get to certain spots, right? It's like, just think how much better your dog would be if you got 100%, if you felt like your dog was just perfect. And really, what's perfect anyway? There's no such thing as perfect, but like really good inside, and then you move to the other one, and then he's like really good in the other area, and then you move to the other and he's really good in the other area. I mean, it's gonna reverberate, is that the right word? Expand out,
more or less, I think. Yeah.
It's going to just, you'll see it coming up in other areas, right? It's because the dog's just gonna know. He's practiced it a ton of times. He's got to put the reps in, and our jiu-jitsu teacher talks about this a lot. It's like everybody has a number, everybody has a number that is going to take them to learn this technique and get it to be muscle memory, autopilot, so that when you feel, someone move their arm in a certain way, that you can snatch it up for an arm bar. Like, a newbie's not going to feel that right away, I've been practicing for almost 2 years and I can almost never feel it. I got to really see it. It's got to be almost given to me to see it, right? But as time goes on, I'm going to start to get the feel for things, and I'm just going to, autopilot. Oh, I see it. So just think about that with your dog. It's going to take him a certain amount of reps to really get this. And it's going to take you a certain amount of reps to really get this. We always have previous clients and stuff, they're like, oh, it looks so smooth when you do it. And it's like, well, because we've had a ton of practice. We've been training dogs professionally for 4 years. I've had my own dogs for over 10 years. We've had several dogs. And we've worked with a lot of dogs, at least 30 a year, maybe more. And you're working with one dog for your whole life, so cut yourself some slack. Don't think you got to be anywhere at a certain time. Just go at your own pace, go at your dog's pace, and just enjoy the ride, and it's like, just little baby steps are going to lead to bigger things. Okay? Got anything to add on that?
No, I like the concept though. Take the time.
All right, so that is the end of episode 2. I hope the questions were helpful, and if you need more clarification on things, or if this was maybe helping you push in the right direction and you have another question, definitely feel free to submit those. Again, we'll be posting a little graphic where you can post the pictures right to that on Facebook and Instagram. We'll do another one about a week and again, so that
2 weeks.
Or 2 weeks. So we'll post one up probably tomorrow. So submit your questions for the next show, and then we'll have another reminder one in there. Just so, because I know life happens and we can forget these things. But you submit your questions so we can get those answered up for you, get you some help, and help you start trying to figure out and navigate how to get the best out of your dog. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you all next time.